the new link that was given. I would like to know
Oh,
whether
it's not a new link. It's not a new link, which means that possibly you were not with us yesterday, right? Were you with that? I mean, yesterday.
Yeah, I was.
Are you
I
sure?
was.
Are
Yeah, I
you
was.
listening to all our delivery?
So as a matter of fact, I think at the ending part, my network was really disturbing, so I didn't get the ending part at all.
Oh, but we are on the same platform. Are you on the same platform? Are you on the same platform that we have formed printing technology platform? Are you on that platform?
No, I'm not on that platform.
Then you are lost. Kindly reach out and be on that platform, please.
I'm really lost. I'm really lost.
Yes,
really
kindly
lost.
reach out and be on that platform. It's very important. There is a need for us to collaborate all the time. Whichever platform that you belong to, there's a need for you to join this printing technology platform that was created yesterday. I've posted even the materials on that platform already. So kindly be on the platform.
I later asked one of my colleagues for the material, so I didn't know there's
no. You don't need to ask him. You have to join.
All right, I will join.
What
you
don't need to ask him at all.
Is it that you just started, or you've already begun a while?
I don't know what you mean right now by that. If you can
like,
come again.
What I mean is that I would like to know if you've already started the lecture for a while, because we've been waiting for almost 30 minutes. So I don't know whether you just
all those who have been waiting, we said it yesterday that there is no way that we can teach printing technology 1 and 2 concurrently. It will confuse you. It is for your own good. We learn, even if you are counting, we count from 1 before we go to 2. So printing technology 2 is an advanced form of printing technology 1. And so you need to get every concept in printing technology 1 before we move to printing technology 2. So what I said was that we are going to exhaust every concept in printing technology 1. So after exhausting it, before we go to printing technology 2, the credit hours will remain same. The credit hours will remain same because we are supposed to meet it seems 8 times in 4 weeks. 8 times in 4 weeks. So this week, which is today and yesterday, we are doing printing technology 1. Then next week to printing technology 1, then we exhaust everything concerning printing technology 1. Then 3rd and 4th week, the Saturday and Sunday will belong to printing technology 2, and the 4th week to Saturday, Sunday for printing technology 2. And that has been the arrangement. That that's how I've been teaching it for students to get the concept better. And we said it yesterday that that's what we are going to do. So if you have printing technology 1, you don't need to go and use printing technology 2 link, because I'll not be using printing technology 2 links. Printing technology 1 has its link. So you have to just click the link, then you get on board. Please, are you okay with that?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thank you very much. All right.
Yeah. But I would like to entreat all of us to be on, because I've been here since about 30 minutes ago, and I was here with one gentleman alone, and we need to put it on a platform that we are waiting. And someone also reminded you on the platform that we are waiting. So let's try as much as possible to be on time so that we can finish everything. Thank you so much. So let's quickly begin. In our previous lesson, we got the understanding of the concept of printing, and we started, looking at all that we need to know so far as printing is concerned. And we realized that we looked at what printing is, and we said printing, several schools of thought came out to, explain the meaning of printing. Several schools of thought came out to explain the meaning of printing. So even some of you came out to explain it very well. And it's a process of transferring impression from one surface onto another surface. And that surface is the substrate or the support. And then we also looked at the two broad classifications. We looked at the direct printing processes and the indirect printing processes. And so under the direct printing processes, we were looking at a situation whereby you just pick the item directly from the natural source or the artificial source, and apply ink on it. Then you press it on another surface for your print to be made. So we looked at the three basic methods of doing these direct printing, and we said the three basic methods of making these direct prints are rolling, stapling, and stamping. Then we moved on. We explained all this, and we even gave you an assignment for you to go and execute. Then we move on to the indirect printing.
Hello, Doc.
Yes.
Hello, Doc. Please, I need a little clarification. Is the class for all centers except UCC and WESCO?
I've placed the timetable on the platform. Do you belong to the platform?
Yeah, yesterday we contacted the coordinator and she gave us the UCC and the WESCO members a link. We called the lecturer there. He rescheduled our meeting from yesterday to Monday, 4:30. So today, joining this class, and you are talking about your first meeting, I seem a bit lost. Please kindly clarify it for me.
If you keep on, it's like anytime we say it, we need to go back. We say we need to go back. Were you with us? Yesterday, were you with us?
Yesterday, they rescheduled our meeting to Monday 4:30. So
good. So that is where the confusion is. My issue is that, you see, let's not spend much time explaining this over and over. People will now come in and want me to explain whilst we are on this. Possibly you should have even allowed me to even end my recapitulation, review of all that you have done in the previous lesson before your question will come in. But once it has come in, let me take the opportunity to explain, so that there will not be interjection. When there's interjection, it worries a lot. My issue is that we have printing technology 1 and printing technology 2. I have my regular online students that are always with me online. We have people from WESCO and UCC who do both online and face-to-face. All right. Now, I am responsible for online tutelage alone. So I'm supposed to teach printing technology 1 and 2. And printing technology 1 and 2 on your timetable is meant to be taught concurrently. For instance, teaching printing technology 1 on Saturday, printing technology 2 on Sunday. Look, you will never understand it until I finish teaching everything in printing technology, in printing 1 or technology 1. Until I finish teaching, there is no way you understand printing technology 2, because we move from 1 before we go to 2. So 2 is an advanced form of printing. So you need the basics of that. for you to understand printing technology 2. So whether you are with me or not, if you have a lecturer who teaches you printing technology 1, you can decide to, I don't know, that one you use your own discretion. You have to attend your lectures. But if you feel you need a top-up for printing technology 1, you could come to my class. Now, printing technology 2 will begin, all right, in the 3rd week. So we are supposed to meet, for 4 weeks. So I'm using this week and next week for printing technology 1 so that I can exhaust everything in printing technology 1. Then week 3 and 4 will be meant for printing technology 2, where I will start from the beginning to the end. The issue is that it's going to be the same credit hour, because I'm going to use the same time, Saturday, Sunday, for printing technology 2 as well. If I teach you printing technology 1 on Saturday, maybe I teach unit 1 and 2. And Sunday, I'm to teach you printing technology 2, 1 and 2, unit 1 and 2. Because you have not exhausted printing technology 1 concept, you would find it very difficult to understand that. Please, I hope I'm making meaning. The one who asked the question.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are making meaning
Yes,
a lot.
you are making meaning.
Because we teach
Thank you very
from
much
noon
for the
to
clarification.
personally, the issue is that it is not coming from you. The issue is how the timetable has been arranged. It shouldn't have been done that way. It shouldn't have been done that way. Because
Absolutely.
yeah, it shouldn't have been done that way at all. Because ever since I started teaching this, I have had problem with the timetable. But the issue is that the timetable is not cast in stone. Same like the curriculum, which is not cast in stone. So we understand that there is an approach called scaffolding. There is an approach called learning from known to unknown. There is an approach called from learning from concrete to abstract. Now it's like printing technology 2 is more abstract than printing technology 1. And it is more industrial. It is more comprehensive and detailed and sophisticated. So if I don't give you the basis for printing technology 1 and I begin to teach you printing technology 2 alongside printing technology 1, I can tell you, you will not enjoy the class at all. Please, so I'm doing this as an intervention to help my learners to understand the subject better rather than doing rote learning. Please, are we clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so the best you could do is join the platform. There's a platform. Join it. When it is time for printing technology 2, you will know, because I will need to exhaust everything in printing technology 1 before I move to 2. So if you think that maybe you have your lecturer for printing technology 1, you can be enjoying your lecturer's printing technology 1. Okay, then when it is time for me to teach printing technology 2, you can now join, because it will help. It will help you a lot rather than teaching 2 concurrently. It will worry you. It will seriously worry you. When I open the printing technology 2 this thing to you, you can even read. I've sent it to you. You can even read it and see how it is. So Osman, please.
Please, in the 3rd and 4th week, there will be a contradiction, because as at the time you'll be teaching printing technology 2, UCC and WESCO will also be having printing technology 1 with the other lecturer.
Well, I don't know,
sir.
but yeah.
Hello, sir. My brother, I think if I heard Doctor right, we are to join this class so that we build the foundation, and then when it is time for the third week, we continue with printing technology 2. No problem. We have scheduled a class with that. So when it is time, we just go and join, and then it will even expand our understanding on the printing technology 1, because we have learned it and you're relearning it again. So let's leave that one so that we then move on with the lecture today. We are going to benefit. Thank you.
Yeah, please. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for adding your voice to this. But the issue that is what I've been doing. That is what I've been doing ever since this thing started. Because when the whole thing was given to me, I looked at it, looked at the course materials, and realized that no, my students, it's because most of my students didn't even do anything graphic design, didn't even do anything visual art. Even some of them who did visual art have absolutely no idea on printing technology. And so because of that, in my wisdom, to help my learners and knowing all the teaching pedagogies, I would feel bad to teach printing technology 2 while my learners don't have any basic foundation of printing technology 1. You realize that everything will be abstract to you. Everything, unless of course you don't want to understand it. If you don't want to understand it, then we can go that way. But it will help you so that you are great. It has been successful ever since I started introducing it. Has been successful. So you are not the first. So it means that you can even, if you think that same time will worry, then all of you can even come together for printing technology 2, so that you can reschedule the time so that we meet. Please, are you okay with that? Mine is to help you. So after the lectures, you can on the platform, if you feel that the timing will worry your normal face-to-face class, where it is time for printing technology 2, of course, nothing is cast in stone. We can always manage. We are very flexible. Okay, I'm very flexible, so we can always manage it so that it will not clash. All right, thank you so much. Okay, so let's quickly start. We are yet to start, so the one who asked the question, we are yet to start. As I'm saying, please let us try as much as possible to come on time, because we need to move. We are meeting only 4 times. All right, 4 weeks. We are meeting for only 4 weeks. Only 4 weeks. So this is the first week. So second week, we should be done with printing technology 1. Then 2 would be 3 and 4. Then we end it there. So next time, let us be on time. Thank you so much. All right. Don't forget that next week we are going to use the same link, because we are not done with printing technology 1. So that is it. Thank you. And so if you don't belong to the platform, please reach out to your colleagues so that they can add you to the platform. Very, very important. All right. So let's quickly start our presentation. We need to start quickly. To start. Okay, that's fine. All right. Okay. All right. So we looked at so assignment was given to you people. We also looked at the indirect printing processes and forms. We looked at relief, we looked at intaglio, we looked at lithography, and we move on to talk about direct printing processes. Of course, we explained all that. Then we looked at monoprint, and let me quickly give you a video of monoprint so that you would understand it. When we say that the printing, this method of printing can be done once, which is why it is called monoprint. It's different from monochrome. Monochrome means one color, but this one means one print, monoprint. And so mono itself is one. You know, we did this yesterday, but it just occurred to me that there's a need for me to, maybe you may not be able to apply it. So let me quickly show you a video of how the monoprint is done. And so let me quickly do that. So it said the monoprint is done only once, one at a time. Okay, so let's quickly watch the video on the monoprint. Let me do that. Okay, so.
Hi and welcome to this tutorial on monoprinting. Monoprinting is a style of printmaking that, as the title suggests, creates only one print. These prints come out mirrored to what you have drawn. Basically, we will ink a plate, place paper down, and then as we apply pressure to the paper through our pencil, the ink will adhere to the opposite side of the paper, resulting in a transferred print. My final result will look like this. For this task, we will draw something from the natural environment. This way, if we make a mistake while it's drawing, it shouldn't be very noticeable due to the use of organic shapes. I've gone ahead and found this photo of a flower to use as reference for mine. The materials we will need are a plate. I have this small plastic sheet, but glass could also work. We will also need a pencil, a roller, and some block printing ink. Before placing the ink down, it's always a good idea to shake the bottle to mix it well.
So you could see that this is the glass, all right? The glass monoprint. So we need the glass or any smooth surface, very smooth surface. So this is the glass that we are pouring the ink on top. And this is the roller, the brayer. This is the brayer, okay? As I said, roller is used by painters and brayer is used by graphic designers. So this is the brayer. And so to start, you need to pour your ink on the glass, all right? Then spread it with the brayer. Okay, so let's go.
Especially if it's new or has been sitting on a shelf for a while. You only need a small amount of ink, but this will depend on the size of your print.
Applying it.
Note how little I have used. Use your roller to spread it around to create
Sir,
an
please,
even,
cannot
thin
see your
layer.
screen.
You cannot see it.
Use this elevated.
Who cannot see my screen?
Please, we can see, we can see.
I think it's your end.
So, please, the rest of you can see, right?
We can see.
Yes,
we
sir.
can see.
Okay, all right. So I hope you are seeing what I'm explaining. So the
yes,
first
sir.
one is that
Sir.
they have to coat. You have to coat the entire, glass or a shape. All right, the shape that glass must be coated with the ink. The ink can be black, the ink can be blue, the ink can be any color at all, not necessarily black. They use your brayer. They are calling it over here roller, but it is brayer. All right, graphic design, we call it brayer. To spread the ink entirely to cover the entire glass. So that is exactly what is currently happening. Now let's go
on your roller to place down on your table to help keep it clean. Next, we place our paper on top.
Okay.
Careful at this.
So now you are placing your paper, that is your substrate, your support on top. You are placing it on top of the coated glass, directly on top of the coated glass. Now let's see how it goes.
Because any pressure you apply to your paper with your fingers will actually be printed by lifting the ink off on the other side.
So you
Next,
make sure it is
simply
stable.
start drawing your object. The harder you press, the stronger.
So you draw your object. All right. So the object, any object of your choice, you draw it at the back of the paper, just like what is just like what you are seeing right now. So it can be any motive that you want to draw. All right. As you are drawing, you press it deeply. All right. You should exert a bit of pressure. All right. You exert a bit of pressure.
Longer the
So
line
let's
on
go.
the print will be.
So he's drawing the flower.
To create some contour and form to my flower, I'm going to add some contour lines.
On the substrate, which is paper.
I'm also going to try and create some gradation and shadow by using some hatching. You could also experiment
So
with
he's
this
doing
by
some bit
perhaps
of
adding
shading.
stipples. I'm flicking my pencil work here to create tapered lines so they fade out and create some line variation. I'm also not applying a great deal of pressure. You should note the little thin line of space I have on the right where the ink is showing. My hand is making contact here, resulting in some ink smudging. You should be aware of this to keep your work neat and clean.
So in order for you to make your support very stable on the glass screen, it will be very prudent to support it. Okay, you can support it with sellotape so that it will not shift. You support it with sellotape so that it will not shift. All right, this one is shifting a bit. If it is shifting, you will not get the required print. You will not get the best print. So that is the advice. So now that it's still
I'll then
drawing,
add some leaves in the
that's to
background
add
fill
more
the
leaves
space.
or more distinct details to the drawing. The drawing can be very simple or detailed, depending on what you want to do.
When done, we then peel the paper off to
So,
view our print.
all right. Okay, so you realize that it is now done. And so after drawing your image or your design or whatever motif, then you peel it. So once you peel it, this will be the outcome. And you realize that
can
you
see the line
cannot
work
do it
here on my plate.
again.
I'm going to quickly
So you
re-ink my
need
plate
to
to show
apply
you another
different
approach.
color again. You need to reapply. So that is why we call it mono. Once you do it, it ends there. So if you want to do another one, then you need to, apply another color. All right, to conceal the whole plate before another print could be made. So that is it. Okay, so let's see.
You can also take
the
another piece of
second
paper
approach.
to place.
Now, the first approach, you realize that the drawing was made directly on the support. So you see pencil mark at the back of the print. But this time around, we don't want to see pencil mark at the back of the print. Now, someone can decide to use the first one. Someone can decide not to even use pencil at all, because we don't want to see pencil mark. So you just use any sharp object, or even use your hand to do your tracing or to do your drawing. It can be any sharp object. For us not to see any mark at the back of the paper, which is why we are placing a paper on top of the support so that whatever we draw would pass through, because we have to exert much pressure. So it will pass through, the first paper through the support so that it can, touch the coated glass.
On
So
top.
that
Choose
is
a
it.
thinner paper, such as normal copy paper. Simply draw as demonstrated previously. The only difference is you will not have a pencil drawing on the back of your
On the
paper.
second, so you can see that you don't have pencil drawing now.
So I'll show you here what would happen if you
what
press
is
down on the
happening.
paper with your fingers. Here you can see
You
the
see?
smudges of where my
All right.
fingers were.
Yeah. So that is
Here are some
all
other
about
examples.
the
With
monoprint.
this one, I
So
inked the
this
plate
is
with turquoise first and
what
simply
monoprint
pressed on
is
the paper
all
to create the background
about.
color. I let it.
All right. So that is monoprint. I hope the understanding is clear now. All right. Now let's move to today's concept. Let's move to today's concept. And I'm facing a challenge over here. So let me quickly drop my link, then reach out again, because my screen is a bit affected. So it's a bit blurry over here. Let me quickly drop the line and reach out. So just hold on, please.
Abego, is this not similar to what we see with tracing paper when they use tracing paper? Or I'm not the one getting what he's trying to mean. When they use tracing paper.
Please as well on the page he talked about. Kindly send us a link to the All Centers platform.
That page is on the All Center link. So I just went to check.
Thank you so much. I'm back. So I'll even send the video on your platform. I'll send you the video on the platform as well. So I'm back. All right. So let's move on. Let's move on to the lecture where we ended. So we want to start with today's lecture now.
Okay, I want to ask a question.
Yeah, you can ask your question, please.
Yes, sir. Looking at the monoprint, does the quantity of the color determine how the print will be? Or you can just apply any quantity that you want?
No, not quantity. It should just fill the entire plate. It should just fill the entire plate. And it should be consistent. Okay? It should be consistent, and that is enough. Okay. Let's proceed. There's something, since I'm having difficulty over here as well. There's a problem. I'm facing a challenge. I don't know why. My screen is appearing a bit blurry. Okay, let's manage it, and let's see. Let's manage it. But is it clear for you to see?
Yes, sir.
Mine is very blurry, so I don't know.
It's blurred. We can't see anything.
You can see.
No,
But
the screen you're showing is there, but the script on it is very invisible.
very small, please.
It's very invisible.
Mm.
No, I'm not talking about the size. Is it shaky? Is the inscription shaky?
I think it's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
No, please. Where we can see.
But
Let's see.
please, if you
It's
can,
okay.
a bit.
If others can see it, you cannot see it. It means that maybe we are facing difficulties. But once others can see clearly, then it means that we can proceed and manage what we are seeing. Because someone said that his is very clear and stable. So if his is very clear and stable, then it means that we would have to manage it. Mine is not clear at all. And which is why I decided to drop the line first. But I believe I can manage what I'm having over here. And
zoom it a little.
I will,
that's what I was about to say. Maybe
it's better now. It's better.
Yes.
It's better now. It has come clearer now. So I want to also zoom it a bit. Zoom it a bit, so that's good. So that is it.
Man.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so it's better now, right? Okay. Okay, so let's quickly go to today's concept. Quickly. So we gave you the assignment to go and practice all that you need to go and practice, and I believe you have done that. So let's go to the fourth section, which is relief printing. Relief printing. So relief printing, we are going to look at the tools and materials used to prepare, manual blocks. So relief printing, we are looking at the preparation of manual blocks. So look at what is the manual blocks. What we mean by preparation of manual blocks. Don't forget, we are still on printing. Okay, we are still on printing. So we are looking at relief printing. Okay, so we are looking at the tools and materials that we'll be using to prepare the manual blocks. Then we also look at how to prepare the block with carving method. We either call it carving method or carving method. So a carving method, into bracket, carving method. Describe how to prepare the block with assemblage method. So we are going to look at the carving method and the assemblage method of preparing manual blocks of relief printing. Okay, so let's look at so relief. If you say relief printing, over here, what we mean is that a printing that is done, all right, from a protruded surface. From a protruded surface. A printing which is done from a protruded surface. All right, so the thing is relieved. It means that it is not sunk in, it is raised up. Relief, it is raised up. Well, we have already spoken about that. So we want to prepare the block, that is the surface. All right, the surface. We want to prepare it, the surface that we put our designs on for the printing, the surface that we put our motif on before we can apply, our ink on it, before we can print. That is what we want to prepare. That's what we want to talk about. So several methods are used as backing material in block printing. So the backing material is basically the surfaces that we put our designs on, all right, that we cut out our designs before we can apply ink on it and press it on another surface for the print to show. So we have several surfaces that we can use. So it means that you can cut your design from softwood. So we have softwood over here. You can also cut your design from linoleum. Linoleum. What is linoleum? What is it? What is linoleum? People call it lino. Lino. What is lino? That's what normally in our traditional setting or our local setting we call bona. Bona. So maybe someone will not still understand what bona is. You know, when your shoe sole wears off as a result of constant usage, you go to the cobbler to fix it for you, the shoemaker to fix it for you. You would have, they have to cut a plastic-like, all right, black substance, all right, cut it according to the shape of the sole and affix it so that it will balance. That particular material or substance is called linoleum. So in short, we call it lino. All right, so we can cut our designs from lino or linoleum, or what we call the bona. They will also have styrofoam. What is it? When you buy new gadget or device or electronics, you know, we have some white material substance that protects the item, that protect the device. So that is called the styrofoam. So we can also cut our design from that. So that the softwood, the lino, the styrofoam can all be the backing material for block printing. So as I said, the backing material, all right, or for the block printing, we are talking about the surfaces that we cut our designs from, or that we cut our motif from before we can use it to print. So we can also cut it from metal, and the metal could be soft metal, not hard ones. So soft metal like, you know, aluminum plates and whatever. So we can use metal plates for that. Then we can also use wax, foam, rubber, sole, all right, clay, soap, yam, cassava, all right, and so that is it. So we also have tools that we can use to cut those materials. We have tools that we can use to cut those materials. So we use the tools to cut the designs on those materials. And so we have the V cutters. So what is V cutter? Let me quickly show you what a V cutter is. Quickly, let me do that. Let me see whether I can show what a V cutter is. So V cutter, let me quickly show you what it is so that you know what V cutter is. So that is V cutter for cutting, all right. So I don't know whether you can see it. So that is it's a typical example of V cutter. Okay, that is a typical example of V cutter. Please, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? Okay,
Yes,
so
please.
that is that. So that is V cutter.
Yes,
Then,
sir. Yes, sir.
which one else? That's so we have gorgeous. Gorgeous is just like the V cutter. All right. We have mallet, we have sharp knives, we have brayer. So you realize that we put the brayer there and the roller is in bracket. All right. So the brayer, we are talking about the roller, but the technical name itself is brayer. Then saw, spatula, wooden mold, and we have the Tijantin. Tijantin. Let me show you how the Tijantin is. Tijantin. Let me show you how the Tijantin is. So quickly, let's see how the Tijantin is. And so let's quickly. Yeah, so that is a good example of Tijantin. So this is a Tijantin for you. Let me see whether I can see it. Yeah, so that is Tijantin. For creating your trench, all right, on the materials or any groove. You create the groove. So we use this part, the sharp edge, to create it. So that is the tool. Then we look at the pliers, the glass, palette, printing paste, etc. So these are the tools and materials that we use for making our manual blocks. And so that is. Then we move to the next one, methods of preparing manual blocks. That is the image, carrier. All right, the image carrier. So we have two methods. So we have the assemblage method and the carving method. Assemblage method and the carving method. So what is the assemblage method and what is the carving method? So now it seems I have a video. Let me quickly see. Let me quickly see whether I can show you that. Okay, let me see whether I can show you the. Okay, so that is relief. So let's see a video on relief.
One of the most difficult lines to make in a wood block is a curved line. And it will take some practice until you get used to the material and used to your carving tools in order to do the more fluid curved lines. But as we talked before about carving away
this is the wood
and the dexterity that you need to by keeping the tool in that position.
Wood as the image carrier.
Do a curve, you're going to want
so
to
he's
turn
doing the
block
carving
so
method, the carving method.
In that position away from you and giving you
so it's cutting through the design
to have
cutting through the design on a soft wood
for you to carve.
So cutting through the design on a soft wood.
Away. I'm going to make some
so that is it. So you can use soap, you can use a soft metal plate,
now again
you can use clay, whatever
from me.
So what she's currently doing is cutting through
so that I'm
the design so that
with my tool onto the
positive side
and I'm just letting it glide into the surface as I move my block.
All right.
This is going to give me the easiest.
So it's using the
without
the gorgeous
to pressure into the wood. The more pressure
take
you put
off
into the wood
the unwanted parts.
Tool, the more difficult it is going to be for you to keep control of that tool. Just a very small amount of pressure will make a line. This is probably the most important thing to remember when carving.
So that is relief block. So she's preparing the relief block using a soft wood. Preparing relief block using a soft wood. So let's continue. Okay, so 4 major processes are involved in the curving method. The first one is to draw your image or make your design. So the first, don't forget, you are going to make your design. So set out the design to the correct size on a bond paper. So you are going to draw your design on a bond paper first. Then you shade or paint the design. You can decide not to even shade it at all or paint it, depending on what you want to do. If you are painting it, if you are shading it, it means that you are doing multi-color designs. So if you want to print using only one color, which is monochromatic design, it's not monoprinto, monochromatic. Once there is chrome, chrome means color. So if you want to use monochromatic, that's the use of only one color, like black or like blue or like green. It means that you are using only one color. Then there's no need for you to even paint. There's no need for you to paint or shade it. But if you are using multiple colors, that is polychrome. Polychrome. All right, multiple colors. That means that whatever design that you want to create must equally be painted so that you will know, how to position your designs on your what's the name? Your softwood or the image carrier. You know how to position it over there. Okay, so we move to the next. Now, preparing the backing material. Preparing the backing material. So we already told you that the backing material can be lino, it can be wood, soft wood, it can be clay, it can be, foam, or even soap, depending on what you want to do. Make sure the backing material is slightly bigger than the design that you have made on the bond paper. Make sure it's slightly bigger than it so that it can carry it. It shouldn't be smaller than it. Okay, so the backing material, which is the image carrier, must be bigger so that you can transfer your design that you have made on your bond paper onto the backing material. So that is what you need to understand. Let me connect my, okay, all right. Okay, so after making your design, the second one is to prepare your backing material. So we gave you examples of backing materials that you can use. Backing materials that you can use. After preparing your backing material, then what must you do now? You must now transfer your design that you've made onto the backing material. So that is it. So for one color design, trace, so which is why I said that when you are dealing with one color, there is no need for you to even paint it. One color. Yours is to trace it directly onto the surface of the backing material. However, if it is for multi, color designs, then you will trace, the colors separately. So you separate them. That's what we call color separation. So if you have, let's say, blue, black, and red, blue will come, you trace blue entirely first, for black to come, for red to follow. But take note that all the tracing must be done in reverse. It must be done in reverse. If you don't do it in reverse and you do it at the right side facing you, what will happen is that when you print your design out, the design will appear in reverse. So the design must first and foremost be in reverse. The design must first and foremost be in reverse, or the wrong reading, so that when you print it out, it will be seen at the right side. So that is that. So in transferring the design, make sure you trace your design in reverse. Okay. Then we proceed to the fourth stage, where we curve out the design. So I've already shown you a video of how the curving would be done. So we curve out the design with sharp knife, chisel, hammer, gouges, tijantin, whatever that you want to use it. Even sometimes we even curve it with scalpel. It's a sharp tool for cutting. All right. So you can use that depending on the type of material that you are using. So if you are using a metal plate, you cannot use chisel. Then the tijantin would be most appropriate. To be most appropriate for you to use. Okay. So then when cutting, slant or tilt the cutting tool outside the design to obtain a beveled edge. So I'm going to show you how you are going to tilt it so that the design will not stand straight. Okay? The design will slant a bit. The edge of the design will slant. So that is, I'll show it to you. I have illustration over here to show you. So this is how it should be. So you do not use your tool, all right, to cut it straight forward, all right. If you cut it straight forward, you will get straight cut. It is not advisable. So this is your backing material. This is the backing material that I'm showing you. This is the backing material. Okay, so let's say the projected place is the design that you have cut out. So this is the negative area that you have chipped off. This is the negative area that you have chipped off. So the negative areas must be chipped off, but make sure that it is slanted. Should it be slanted this way to have undercut? No. If it's slanted this way to have undercut, the base of the design will be weak and it may break. Your design may break. So this is the, the right one, the beveled, all right, cut. This is the beveled cut where it is slanted diagonally so that the base will be strong and it can last. So that is what we are talking about. So we always chip the negative side off while we leave the positive side. It is the positive side that is bearing the design. It is the positive side that will carry the ink for transferring purposes. So that is the approach I am teaching you for you to comprehend. Okay. So let's look at the assemblage method. What about the assemblage method? We have seen the curving method, and now we are coming to the assemblage method. What is the assemblage method about? Now, this is a method where we assembled various, relieved surfaces together on a particular backing material. So let's say you have a backing material which is a wood, block of wood. You have it. Now, you are not going to cut the wood through over here. You are not going to cut it. You are not going to use the tools to, transfer your image on the wood. Then you use your gauges or your chisel to cut the designs through. No. This one, you have your design somewhere. So it can be a design that you got from the sole of your shoe. Maybe you want to print a very nice cloth. And you realize that the sole of your shoe or your sandals would give you a very nice design. And maybe you have seen one or two of them. You have seen one or two soles that the designs are so interesting. So what would you do now? So you cut those designs, shape it so that it will fit the size of the backing material, which is the wood. Then, with the help of adhesive, you fix that, particular cutout onto the backing material. So you can use carpenter's glue or white glue, depending on the material that you are using. You can even use super glue, depending on the material that you are using, to fix the design onto the backing material. So once you are fixing it onto the backing material with the help of glue or adhesive, very strong adhesive, it means that you are assembling your design onto the backing material. So that's why we say assemblage method. Assemblage method. So the carving method, that one, the backing material, the design will be transferred directly onto the backing material for the chisel to cut it. So if it is wood, you are cutting the wood right there. But this assemblage one, you are not going to cut. You are picking the design somewhere and fixing it on to the backing material with the help of glue. Please, is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes.
All right. So that is so let's look at the materials. So the same materials and tools can be used for both the carving method and the assemblage method. So the assemblage method and the carving method are the two various techniques that we use for relief, printing block, preparation of relief printing block. So if they ask you to state two methods of preparing manual blocks, then obviously you are going to say that it is carving and assemblage. All right. So you will now tell us that the three tools used to prepare manual. So we have stated the tools over there for you, as many as possible, and the materials too. We have stated it already in the discussion. So that is it. All right. Then quickly, let's look at after producing your block, what would we use the block for? After producing your manual blocks, your relief manual blocks, What would we use it for? Of course, we have to use it to print. So relief printing. So reproducing images with manual blocks. So you now want to print it. So by the end of this section, we would discuss two major methods of reproducing manual blocks and also describe the two processes of producing manual blocks. So we want to quickly look at that. How to print from relief blocks. How to print from relief blocks. So basically, we are going to look at the two main ways of printing from the relief block. But don't forget, you must always know that in printing we use the printing ink, okay? And the printing ink must be mixed in even consistency. It shouldn't be too, watery. It shouldn't be too watery. It should be too thick. All right. It should be, even, so that it can pick the positive areas. So first, prepare the printing ink by applying some onto the glass palette. So you use the brayer to spread it, all right, evenly. Okay, all right. Then the ink the printed area of the block with the brayer. So you pick the ink with the brayer, all right, on the glass palette. All right, you pick it with the brayer so that you can ink the positive area of the image carrier, okay, of the image carrier. Then you print the design either face up or face down. So these are the two methods of reproducing the manual blocks. You either print it face up or face down. So what is face up? Face up. So this is mostly used for heavy and larger blocks. So for instance, if the block that you have made is too heavy for you to carry it with your hand, all right, very heavy. Maybe you are producing, very big artwork using the relief printing. If it is too heavy, after you have finished making your relief block, and you cannot carry it, you cannot lift it with your hand, then quickly you make sure the printing surface, the positive area, is facing upwards. It's facing upwards. So once it's facing upwards, there is no need for you to lift it. All right, you place it on a table while the positive area is facing upwards. Then you gently apply your ink with the help of the brayer on top of it. So once you apply it on top of it, while the positive side with the ink is facing you up, you now place your material on the inked side. Gently, you place your material, that is your substrate or your support, you place it on it. Once you place it on top of it, then you can press it gently with another brayer, so that we can have even pressure. We can have even pressure. So once you apply it evenly, you now peel off your substrate or support, and you have your relief print. So that is the first method. Now let's look at the second method, face down. And so if it is not up, it is obviously down. Okay. So face down. This time around, you are going to lift it. So this time, as you are putting your substrate or your support on top of the positive area which is inked, you will this time place your support down on the flat surface, then apply the ink onto the positive area of your backing material, the image carrier. Then you stamp it onto, or you press it onto the support. So now the image carrier is now facing down. So once you are pressing, it means that it is now facing down instead of the other one facing up. It is normally used when the design or your block is so handy, is so portable that you can easily carry it without difficulty. So that is when we use the face down. So the process include mark out the pattern arrangement so that your designs or your pattern will flow consistently. It will flow consistently. Fix it on a flat, starved printing surface. All right. So your printing table should be a bit soft. It shouldn't be too hard. If it is too hard, it will not be able to pick. To not be able, I'm talking about your printing table where you are going to put your support, or where you are going to put your substrate. Shouldn't be too hard. If it is too hard, it will not be able to pick the ink appropriately. It should be soft, so that once you press it gently, all the positive areas would be picked. So that is it. So you prepare the printing ink and ink the block, then stamp the block gently on the surface using the marked out guide. So that is the face down. Uses of block printing. So we need to understand that though it is antiquated method of printing, of course, we have latest method of printing these days. The contemporary ones are there. We hardly go by the traditional ones. Some of us or some people still use it to print posters. Others also use it to print handkerchiefs, chair backs, table covers, wrappers, greeting cards, all right, rubber stamps, wallpaper, etc. So the session that we have just finished talking about, discussed the method used to reproduce manual blocks, right? And basically it includes the face up and the face down. So we will look at the two methods. So I have self-assessment for you that you can always practice. Okay, so now let's look at practical activities. So the practical activities, it is meant for you to do it. And so all that we have done, it is meant for you to do it so that you can do your own block printing. You can practice it. This is not compulsory, all right? On your own, you can practice using the curving method or the assemblage method. So the tools and materials needed are there for you to apply. So you can do that all the time. So you can either use the assemblage method. It will be good you do it so that you would not forget. So that is it. Now let's go to unit 2. You realize that printing technology 1, it's quite 95 pages. 95 pages. So and I hope I'm not moving too fast too, and I'm moving according to your pace. Okay. I'm just checking whether you are there. I could see you are there. All right. So let's move to Unit 2, integral printing processes. You see, that is why I said we have to do all these things before we move to printing technology 2, integral. What is integral? All right. What is integral? We want to know what integral is. Integral printing processes. So the integral printing processes, we are going to look at the first section on engraving, second section on etching, third section on aquatint, fourth section on dry point, fifth section on mezzotint, and sixth section on grave printing. Look, the integral printing processes, all the engraving that you are seeing here, the engraving, the etching, the aquatint, the dry point, the mezzotint, and the grave printing are all under integral printing processes. They are all types of integral printing processes. They are types. And let me state emphatically that the printing, the preparation of the materials or the preparation of the image carriers are different. Engraving is different from etching. Etching is different from aquatint. Aquatint is different from dry point. Dry point is different from mezzotint. Mezzotint is different from grave printing. It's just like a human being having various parts, playing various roles, but they are all part of the human being. So your head is different from your limbs. Okay, so your limbs different from your stomach. So we have integral as a printing process. So the engraving is part of integral. The etching is part of integral. The aquatint is part of integral. The dry point is part of integral. The mezzotint is part of integral. Grave is part of integral. But the approaches are different. But one interesting thing is that their printing, how the reproduction, the printing is made, the printing method remains same. Engraving, we are going to engrave to come out with the surface for the printing. We are going to etch to come out with the surface for the printing. We are going to aquatint to come out with the surface for the printing. We are going to use the dry point to come up with the surface for the printing. We are going to use the mezzotint method to come up with the surface for the printing. We are going to use grave printing to come up with the surface for printing. All the surfaces are done on metal plates. Okay, metal plates. But the printing remains same. Don't forget that. So let's proceed. So at the end of this particular unit, which is unit 2, you will state integral printing processes. Describe the characteristics of each of the integral printing processes. Describe how to use the integral printing processes to create image carriers. So the first one, let's look at engraving. Let's look at engraving. Let's look at the engraving, first one. But before we look at all this engraving and the etching and co, wouldn't it be prudent we watch a documentary, a video of all this, so that if I'm explaining it, you will get better understanding? Wouldn't it? It will be very, very important.
We will love that.
We are going to, Yeah, so I'm going to show you all the intaglio printing processes that are here. Then after showing you all the videos on this, then I will explain it for you to get. So let's pay attention to watch. Let's pay attention to watch it. Because the truth of the matter is that some of the items or the tools and the materials that we can use for intaglio printing are not even available for us to use, for us to even demonstrate. If we should even come to class, we can be resourceful by trying to, improvise. But let me show you the video so that we look at what engraving is, what etching is, what aqua tint is, or what dry point mezzotint and grave printing is. Let's watch. Let's watch. So intaglio. Let's watch intaglio printing process. So that is
A metal
intaglio.
plate serves as the surface for intaglio prints. The lines of the image are incised or cut into the plate. This carving can be done with sharp tools and force, as in engraving,
So he's
or with
explaining what
acid, as in
intaglio
etching and aquatint.
printing is. So you
The
want to
ink
look
is
at the
applied and
various.
forced into these incised areas below the surface of the plate. The ink remaining on the surface is removed, and the plate is ready for printing.
Okay, so we want to look at engraving first. Engraving under intaglio.
Before he begins engraving, the artist sharpens his tools on an oil stone.
So you have to sharpen
Because
your
the
tool.
tools will carve into the copper plate, he repeatedly
Yeah.
sharpens them during the
So you
engraving
sharpen your
process,
tool. It should
and
be
then
very
tests
sharp.
them on his thumbnail. The artist has scratched his preliminary design into the copper plate with a light dry point line.
So you need a copper
He inks
plate.
the design and then begins his engraving. To make his
So
image, the artist uses
you are
a
now
V-shaped tool
engraving
called a
the
burin to
design.
carve out an ink-holding groove below the
Alright.
surface of the
You are
copper
making the
plate.
groove.
As he removes the metal from the plate, a curl
It's
of
a metal
copper,
plate.
called a burr,
It's a metal
forms
plate.
at the
So
end of
you
the
are
line.
engraving. You are
This
cutting
is
through.
removed with a scraper.
That's engraved.
The sharp nub of metal that remains after scraping must be smoothed out with a burnisher. The ink is then
So
forced
the
into
sharp
these
areas
grooves
must be
below the
smooth,
surface of the
so
plate.
that it will give you a sharper,
To make a curved line, the
sharper
artist
edge.
begins by placing a quarter under his copper plate. He is able to use the same movement he uses for straight lines, but instead of the burin curving through the plate curves while the burin stays straight. Cross-hatching, where overlapping lines create darker areas, is a feature of many engravings. The artist may also engrave short specks into the plate. To check
So
the
what is
progress of his
currently
work, the artist may
cutting
ink the
through
plate.
is the
When ink
engraving.
is forced below the
Cutting
surface of the
through
plate in the
the
engraved
upper,
areas, the artist can determine the
material.
effectiveness of
That's
his
the
marks.
image carrier.
The engraving technique is purely linear. To make areas of tone or shade, the artist may place his lines closer or farther apart, use longer or shorter strokes, or use cross-hatching to form his image. Engravings are printed the same way other intaglio processes, such as etching and aquatint, are. Since the print will be a mirror image of the plate, the artist must reverse both the image and the text of his original design.
Okay, so that is engraving. We will move quickly to talk about engraving, then we come back to look at the rest. We have watched the video. So let's quickly look at the engraving. All right. So I said this is the method. So the integral is simply we use copper plate, right? Then we print from the copper plate. So then when one of the processes or the technique under the integral is the engraving, where we create tiny incision or tiny grooves, all right, or lines on the surface of the metal sheet. So the basic support on which these designs are engraved, it could be wood, can be linoleum, can be metal plate, can be, clay or what. But what we have just seen is purposely the metal plate, where we will design, we have a metal plate, we put our design over there, then we cut our design, all right, with the help of what? Some V gauges. Okay, we cut it, and before that, we have to sharpen it and cut. And don't forget that the image that we are cutting, is someone asking question, please? Okay, I don't think so. The image that we are cutting, the image must be in reverse.
Yes, hello, sir.
The image, yes, I can hear you.
I was trying to say that, is it like the...
Your network, I can hardly hear you, sir.
I've been writing their names on with Tableau.
Please come again. I can hardly hear you. Come again. Hello.
Yes, I was saying that is it like a service that the women write their names on
template
to indicate their silver?
Well, your network.
The part, yeah.
Your network. Can you position yourself so that I can hear you clearer? Can you position yourself so that I can hear you clearer? I can hardly hear you. Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? If you can hear me, come again, because I can hardly hear you. Okay. So I think is having difficulty with the network. All right. So the engraving, we all saw that before he started engraving, he had to sharpen the tool because he was dealing with the copper plate, metal sheet. So if it is not well sharpened, you cannot in any way, cut your designs. So you are going to make a groove or trench. So a very narrow incision, cutting out, all right, the edges. So where you need to shade, they shade it with what? Cross hatching, so that it will come out well. Now, where the edges are sharp, need to be leveled, need to be burnished, need to be polished, so that it will give us a very sharp, print where we are printing it. But if it is not leveled or burnished to make it smooth, it will be tiny and not very accurate. So that is it. So how do you prepare the engraved block? How do you prepare it? So you prepare the block to a flat and level surface. So as I said, what we watched was the metal plate. So you can use wood, but the edge must be very smooth, flat, very smooth and very flat. All right, if you are using clay, it must be leather hard clay. It means that the clay must not be too wet or too dry. We must still see a bit of physical water in the clay, but you can hold it. When you hold it, you know, it will not maybe spoil. If you're using wax, the wax too must be very smooth. The edge, the surface must be very smooth, because you are going to place your support on top of it. So lay out and set out the design in the right reading on a bond paper. So your bond paper, the design that you are going to draw on your bond paper must be in the right reading, not reverse. So whatever you are going to draw must be in the right reading. Transfer the design onto the block in reverse. So you are now going to transfer the design onto the block, all right, in reverse. Use sharp pointed, cutter or knife to cut through the outlines of the design to create tiny wells or grooves onto the surface of the block. Now, listen to this. Shallow cuts will produce thin lines, thin prints. So if you are cutting and your cuts are very shallow, it's going to give you very thin line, while deep cuts will produce thick and dark lines. Don't forget, remember to ask me question on this. Remember to ask me question on this. Why the shadow cut will produce thin lines, but the deep cut will produce thick and darker lines. Remember.
Mr. Christian.
Yes, I had that out and myself. I had light out. I need to connect myself again. So that is the difficulty that we face using this mode of teaching. Please, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, sir. So can you tell me where I was? Because I don't know when the line went off.
Yeah, you said we should remember you why we get a thick line.
Exactly.
Line.
Exactly. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right. So let me present, share my screen again. That's good. Okay. So I was talking about how to prepare your engraved blocks. And looking at the last point, they say use sharp knife to cut through the outlines of the design to create the tiny wells, that's the grooves, like the trench, what we saw the man cutting, okay, on the surface. Now, shallow cut would give you light, thin lines when it is printed. So when you cut it very shallow, the lines that will appear on your substrate when it is printed will be very light and thin. But when you cut it deep and sharpen the edge nicely, it will come out very thick and dark. The lines, the print will come out very thick and dark. And I'm asking you that remember to ask me why it is so. I can't tell you now until I finish so that you will know why it is so. Okay. Now, let's proceed. So how to engrave on metal support. So you saw it. What the man did, you saw it. All right. So transfer a design. All right. So the video, the documentary that you watched, or the video that you watched, they were engraving on the metal support, a copper plate, precisely copper plate, because that one is soft to cut through. Okay, so you have to transfer or set out the design direct onto the surface in reverse. But I told you that the design must be in reverse. Now you have to cut or incise the design onto the surface with sharp, tiny instrument needle called the bearing. So you see that you can even use the bearing or the gauge. So the bearing is the most appropriate. The bearing is a powerful tool with various point sizes of interchangeably needles. Various pen shading techniques such as hatching, cross-hatching, broken cross-hatching can be used to engrave the design so that you get the value of your design. That is, you get the lightness and darkness of your design. That's the value. So that you can also get the three-dimensionality of your design so that your design will not look so flat. Because when you shade, it will give you that three-dimensionality, it will give you that kind of form. So you realize that the man was using cross-hatching, two lines interchanging or coming, together. That is the cross. If it is going on one direction, it is hatching. If it is like the plus or multiplication signs, that is broken cross hatching. So you can use those approaches to bring out a very beautiful design. So you just watch that. Okay. When I finish, state down all your questions so that you can ask, and I'll be ready to explain it to you. Then let's go to the next one, etching. Before we come to etching, let's watch the video. Let's watch the video. etching. Let's look at etching.
To begin the etching process, the artist covers a copper plate with an acid-resistant coating called a ground. Acid will erode unprotected metal, but can't
listen again. Listen again.
To begin the etching process, the artist covers a copper plate with an acid-resistant coating called a ground. Acid will erode.
Acid-resistant coating must be applied on the entire, copper plate. Must be applied on the entire copper plate. You can also use epoxy. Epoxy too can resist acid. Epoxy can resist acid. Okay, all right. So let's go. Again, watch etching. Etching is still under intaglio and is different from engraving. Let's watch again.
The artist covers a copper plate with an acid-resistant coating called a ground. Acid will erode unprotected metal, but can't penetrate the ground. The artist transfers the lines that penetrate the ground. The artist penetrate the ground. The artist acid will erode unprotected metal, but can't penetrate the ground.
All right.
The artist transfers the lines of his original ground.
Listen again.
The artist transfers the lines of his
will erode the unprotected areas. But the protected areas, the acid cannot, corrode it. It cannot penetrate because what you are applying, the coating, the ground, or the epoxy that you are applying is acid resistant. So let's watch how the designs will be made on top of the metal plate, which is coated with the acid resistant substance. That's etching. Let's go.
Original design as a guide.
Let's start again.
Acid will erode unprotected metal, but can't penetrate the ground. The artist transfers the lines of his original design as a guide.
So
with an etching, the plate isn't actually cut. The artist draws into the ground as freely as if using a pencil to expose the areas of the plate that will later be etched by acid. The edges and any accidentally exposed areas are touched up with more ground to protect these areas before the plate is placed in the acid. After the artist completes the drawing, he places the plate in the acid bath. The acid eats away those areas of the copper plate that the artist has exposed with his drawing, forming a network of ink-holding grooves. The longer the plate remains in the acid, the more deeply the lines will be etched. Deeper lines hold more ink and result in darker and more intense areas when printed. After the acid bath, the ground is removed from the plate. The plate is also degreased with soap and water. The artist may now choose to add other intaglio methods, such as aquatint or dry point, or he can ink and print the plate, resulting in an impression of the simple etched outline.
So that is etching for you. That is etching for you. So let's quickly talk about etching. Let's quickly talk about etching. Very interesting. So the etching, you realize that we are not going to cut through the surface. We are not going to cut through the surface at all. We are not going to create any groove. All right? We are not going to create any bears. We are not going to create any form of a trench with a sharp tool. So let's look at it. So etching is the art of using corrosive acid to etch lines or depression into the surface of ferrous metal plate. The tools and materials required for the etching are, so in this case, let me explain it further. The concept of etching based on this. You realize that the etching, unlike the engraving that we cut through, this one, the metal plate, which is the copper plate, is coated with acid resistant substance. We have several acid resistant substances that we can use. It's not limited to the ground or limited to the epoxy. No. Even coal tar is acid resistance. All right. Now, after coating the entire plate, you will now transfer your design with the help of any tool. It can be pencil, it can be the pen, it can be something just to trace your design on the plate. You can even use a sharp wood, because we are not looking at the ink which is coming from the pen, or we are not looking at the impression that is coming from the graphite of the pencil. We just want to trace out. So when you trace out, you are taking away part of the designs, the edges of the design on the metal plate. Now, if you are taking away parts of the designs on the metal plate by drawing, it means that the negative areas are still acid resistant, or those places are still coated, and the positive area you have etched, you have taken off those, if it is the ground or if it is the epoxy, you have taken it out, exposing the metal plate, while the negative areas are still covered. Now, when that is done, you dip the metal plate into an acid bath. You realize that the man was in gloves, because it's dangerous, and protective wears. So you put it in it. The more you put it, if you submerge it in it, it is keeping long, you are going to get a deeper depression. The acid is going to eat into the areas that are exposed, the positive areas that are exposed. Don't forget, the positive areas that are exposed, we are seeing the metal. The negative areas that are not exposed, you are not seeing the metal, because it is coated with the acid resistance substance. So when you dip it into the acid bath, the more you spend time, the deeper the depression. And if the depression is deeper, same question in the engraving side, the deeper the depression and the thicker the print and sharper the print. When it is shallow, the print will be faint and lighter. And I'll still be asking you a question on that, the same thing. Then you take it out. After taking it out from the acid bath, what must you do? You clean it by washing. Then you clean the areas that were coated. You clean the entire surface. So once you clean the entire surface, where you etched, you will now see that part has been depressed. The acid has eaten into that part. So making something like was the engraving, but this time you didn't use a sharp tool to carve it. It is the acid that carved it for you, that made the grooves for you. So that is that. We are yet to print. We have not started the printing. We are yet to print. So I'm just showing you, because I said all the printing for the intaglio are the same. The printing method are the same, which is why we are only showing you the approaches. So we are finished with the etching, and we go to the next one. So there's no need for me to, explain to say get a corrodable metal plate of a desired size, coat the entire plate with acid, resist, transfer your design or set that directly onto the resist and reverse with etching needle. Okay, then dilute a corrosive acid in a rubber bowl, dip the entire plate into the acid, all right, for a couple of some minutes. Okay, where the incision will take place, where the eating of the lines will take place. Then check the degree of etching. If you are satisfied, remove the plate and wipe off the appropriate solvent. Burnish the surface. Burnish the surface of the plate with fine steel wood to make it smooth to complete the process. So you can burnish it, the sharp areas, you can burnish it to make it very smooth. And if you also make it smooth, the lines, the print out will be very sharp. So that is it. It must be emphasized that etching can be used to create relief and integral plates. To create relief, the positive areas of the plate are coated with resist so that the negative areas surrounding will be etched. And I've already explained that. On the other hand, to create integral design, the negative areas of the plate, all right, that is the surroundings, are coated with the resist so that the positive area will be etched. Now, quickly, let's look at the next one, which is aqua tint. Aqua tint. Let's look at the aqua tint. Aqua tint. Now, let's watch the video.
To achieve areas of tone, aquatint is added to this etching. The plate is evenly dusted with a powder. To achieve areas of tone, aquatint is added to this etching.
Areas of tone,
aquatint is added.
To achieve the areas of tone. So over here, we are going to look at light tone and mid tone and dark tone. That will give us a 3D effect. Aqua tint. Aqua tint. Okay, let's go.
To achieve areas of tone, aquatint is added to this etching. The plate is evenly dusted with a powdered aquatint rosin. When heated, each separate grain of aquatint attaches to the surface and acts as an acid-resistant ground. By painting some of the areas with an acid-resistant solution called stop-out varnish, the artist can isolate the aquatint in specific locations. When the plate is eventually placed in the acid bath, the acid will attack the unprotected portions of the plate, not the stopped-out areas or the tiny spots that are covered by the aquatint particles. The tone of the aquatint can vary from delicate grays to dark blacks. The artist may remove the plate and stop out more of the aquatint, and then return it to the acid to make the still unprotected areas even darker. After the plate is taken out of the acid bath for the last time, the stop-out varnish is removed, and the plate is ready for additional handwork or printing. If printed, we would now see the original etched lines with distinct areas of tone introduced by the aquatint.
So if it is printed, you will see that we will have some tone. This is the tone. So you can see some light tone, mid tone, light tone, and dark tone. That's why we call it aqua tint. The tint over here, it means that we are achieving some variations of tone. A normal circumstance is supposed to be dark. Okay, so we are tinting it, aqua tint. Now, that is it. All right, so let's watch it again. Finally, then I explain it for you to get.
Added to this etching. The plate is even. To achieve areas of tone, aqua tint is added to this etching.
So
the plate is
aqua tint
evenly
is
dusted
added
with
to
a
the
powdered
areas of
aqua
the
tint
etching.
rosin. When
You are not
heated,
engraving, you
each
etch
separate
first.
grain of aqua tint attaches to the surface and acts as an acid-resistant ground. By painting some of the areas with an acid-resistant solution called stop-out varnish, the artist can isolate the aqua tint in specific locations. When the plate is eventually placed in the acid bath, the acid will attack the unprotected portions of the plate, not the stopped-out areas or the tiny spots that are covered by the aqua tint particles.
Okay.
The tone of the aqua tint can vary from delicate grays to dark blacks. The artist may remove the plate and stop out more of the aqua tint, and then return it to the acid to make the still unprotected areas even darker. After the plate is taken out of the acid bath for the last time, the stop-out varnish is removed, and the plate is ready for additional handwork or printing. If printed, we would now see the original etched lines with distinct areas of tone introduced by the aqua tint process.
All right, thank you. So that is aqua tint. Now let us proceed to explain it. This is the way of achieving flat areas of tone. So you realize that aqua tint is just talking about tones. Gray values of intermediate values of color with an edged plate. So you say that the aqua tint is added to the edged plate to give us variations of tone. All right. Now, how is it prepared? Get the copper plate once again of your size. Apply the powdered aqua tint. All right, powdered aqua tint. In the video, we saw the aqua tint powder. Then this one, we can also use a finely powdered resin onto the surface of the plate and distributed it evenly. Okay, we spread it just like the way the aqua tint was spread all over. Then in this case, hit the plate to stick the resin onto it. Over there in the video, they didn't hit it, but they applied an adhesive to keep the aqua tint particles on the plate. On the plate. Then you now dip the resin into an acid bath. The places not coated with the resin will be etched. So you realize that the places that was not coated with the aqua tint, that if you dip it in the resin was etched. The degree of etching will vary depending on the texture and thickness of the aqua tint. So you realize that some of the aqua tint that was spread on the plate, some were thick and some were light. So the thicker area will give us what? A lighter area, whilst the thin area will give us what? A darker area. Will give us a darker area. Again, be ready to ask me question on that one too. The thicker area, the resin which is thick, or the aqua tint which is thick, all right, will give us a lighter print. The tone to give us, which is why we saw the light tone, the mid tone, and the dark tone. And the places that are very, thin, where we spread the aqua tint very thin, or where we spread the resin, which is very thin, that place, the impression, the print will be dark where it is printed. The varying degree of etching created on the plate can be used to achieve what is known as the chiaroscuro in aqua tint print. So that is the degree of darkness against light background. Effect of light against dark area. Okay, that is the chiaroscuro. Aqua tint is often combined with integral methods such as engraving, dry point, and etching. So that is that. Let's look at characteristics of aqua tint. It uses powdered resin. So the powdered resin uses aqua tint powder. Coated plate is heated to stick. You either use coated plates, which is heated to stick the resin, or you apply the adhesive to keep the aqua tint powder on it. Varying degree of etching is created on the plate, which create tonal values in the print. The tones are not depicted in lines, but flat tones. Because don't forget, the flat areas that are not having the aqua tint powder would all be depressed, giving us a flat color when we print it out. It uses ferrous metals. It also uses corrosive acid. So that is about the aqua tint. Let's go to the dry point. The dry point. Let's watch dry point.
Here, he uses a burnisher and scraper. This act also use sandpaper or an or dry point. To add more handwork or dry point. The artist can decide if he's finished, or an emery board to add texture and tone to the plate by inking the plate, or if he wants to add
dry point.
Another way to make marks on the intaglio plate is to scratch directly on the copper with a dry point needle. No acid is used in this method, and dry point is often added to etchings and aqua tints. As the sharpened needle cuts through the plate, it throws up a burr, rather like the earth around a furrow in a plowed field.
Don't forget the burr.
The burr usually catches more ink than the line itself. The dry point line is rich and velvety, which distinguishes it from the crisp, hard line of an engraving or etching. By inking the plate, the artist can decide if he's finished and ready for printing. The printed impression in this case would show the etched lines, aqua tint, and additional handwork.
Okay, again.
The printed impression in this case, the artist can decide if he's finished. Hard line of an engraving or
the dry
point line is rich and velvety, furrow in a plowed field. The burr usually catches more ink than the it throws up a burr, etchings and aqua tints. Needle. No acid. Another way to make marks on the intaglio plate is to scratch directly on the copper with a dry point needle.
So you scratch directly on the copper,
and dry point is often added
with
to
a dry
etchings and
point
aqua
needle.
tints. As the sharpened needle cuts through the plate, it throws up a burr, rather like the earth around a furrow in a plowed field. The burr usually catches more ink than the line itself. The dry point line is rich
the
and
way
velvety,
you are shading,
which
the way
distinguishes it from the crisp, hard line of an engraving or etching. By inking the plate, the artist can decide if he's finished and
that's how dry point is.
The printed impression in this case would show the etched lines, aqua tint, and additional handwork.
All right. So that is about dry point. Let's look at the dry point meaning. It said this is the art of using dry point needle to create bears. So you saw the bears over there. You heard him saying bears to create. Once you use the needle on the copper plate directly, it will create bears. So bears are grooves. Grooves. All right. Grooves or trench on a soft metal plate that is capable of holding ink. So the trench will hold ink. That is all. That is all. So how do you produce the dry point plate? Get a soft metal copper plate. Draw the design freely with a dry point needle by scratching across. So you saw that the person was scratching the design across the surface of the plate. As the needle scratches the surface, it raises some bears, thin ridge of metal, very thin, which can hold the ink. The bears lines have soft bears or sketchy quality, not sharp and detailed like engraved lines. So it's different. So these ones are soft, they are also sketchy, and they are not sharp like engraved lines. Don't forget that this one, they did not dip it into the acid bath. They did not dip it into the acid bath, just like the engraved one. But the difference is that the engraved ones are very, very, sharp and detailed, while the dry point needles will give you sketchy and soft beige. Uses. Now, before we come to that, let's look at the characteristics of dry point. It uses soft metal plates. The design is drawn directly on the copper plate with a dry point needle. The designs are created in beige. The beige lines have sketchy finishing. So that is it. Now let's go to mezzo. 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 Let's watch.
In this case, an
Okay,
etched
before
cardboard squeegee surface of the plate.
let's
The
look
artist
at
in this case, an inking and printing process.
the inking and the printing
The
process.
inking and
I'll
printing
hold
process.
it. We would, let's see. Let's see. So now that you have understood the whole this thing, let's quickly so that we would. So the mezzo tint, all right, that's like the aqua tint. It is the art of using sharp metal tool called, ruka, okay, and a scraper or burnishing material to create varying degrees of bears. So some will be big, some will be small. Some the bears, some will be big, some will be small, some will be very wide. That can hold ink. The rocker can be used to create varying degree of beds which can print varying tones. Okay, so this is how it is. So get a soft metal again. So you don't, because once you are getting, you have gotten those ones, it's the same, just like the appatent and the engraving and the etching and whatever. So if you want to do the mezzotint plate, get a soft metal plate like the copper wire, the copper plate. Use the rocker to roughen the entire surface of the plate to create thick base on the surface. Wrap or wear down portions of the base with vanishing tools such as steel wool. Steel wool. That's what we use to clean our silver, our cooking pot. That's the steel wool. That's the meaning. That's the name. Or emery cloth or scraper. Where the bears are partially removed, the plate will print intermediate values and tones. Where the bears are partially removed, the plate will give us intermediate values. So intermediate, that's in between values. So mid-tone. The lightest tone prints in areas where the bears are smoothing entirely. So if the bears are smoothing entirely, then the tone that will come out will be very, very light. So let's look at the characteristics of mezzotint. The surface of the plate is roughened to create bears first. You burnish the areas, all right, created based on how you want the tones to appear. So you vary it. So some will be burnished very, very smooth. Others somehow, based on the degrees. The ink is picked by the bears and print varying tones. It uses soft metal plate. The plate prints blur lines and flat tones. Okay, so that is mezzo. Now, grave printing. Grave printing. So that is, I'll show you. So he said it is also used for printing, blah, 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 blah. So that is it. The same uses. So let's look at the grave printing. Then we'll look at the final video, how the procedures are the same. The grave printing. Grave printing. Now, let's look at it. It said this is advanced form of integral printing. So when we come to printing technology 2, we'll be saying it. We'll be saying it. This is an advanced form of integral printing, advanced, which uses modern mechanical press. So I'll be showing you a video on that. As it's an advance. So that one, it is using, machine. Okay. All right. So it uses modern mechanical press plant and chemically developed cylinder. And the cylinder is carrying the image. That is the image carriers. The grave design or image is developed onto the surface of the printing cylinder by etching with an acid or engraved mechanically, and or engraved mechanically and fixed into the press for printing. All right. Now, let's watch the video before we proceed so that it will not confuse you. Let's watch the video quickly. Let's watch the video quickly. Let's watch.
Love on Cheeto. Hot pepper sauce. Serve your every meal.
Okay, good morning, Sally. We thought you might like to see one of your prints being printed. All right, so here's your plate that we've labored over for quite a while now. It's been steel plated, which is why it looks like steel instead of copper. This is the ink mix, which I've created to print it. It's a combination of a Charbonnel ink from France that has red and blue metallic pigment in it to give it a little viscosity. I'm sure you've probably seen etchings printed before.
So it's cleaning excess.
We start with the darkest
Cleaning
Tarleton
the-
and pull ink out of
The entire surface.
the surface of the plate. Quickly go to
The surface.
fresher Tarleton. As we're going to fresher and fresher Tarleton, we see your image emerge. I'm going to put in a little bit of a lighter ink in the corners to lighten them a little bit. Alright, so now we come with the hand wipe, and this is where I'll burn and dodge the plate with my hand. First I give it a fairly quick cursory wipe. This is pulling the ink out of the highlights and not the shadows of the plate. And
They are saying
smoothing
that
all
is
the
an
highlight
advanced form
tones.
of integral printing. So the process is same. That's like the
Once I've done that, I give it a quick
aqua
inspection.
paint and whatever, where we
I'm
have
going
to
to start working
merge
on
the
brightening
distance
the
to
highlights
acid
and
bath.
doing a little bit of strengthening of
Metal
the
plate is an
midtones
acid bath.
with my
And
hand.
this
I
one,
just put a
this
little
one
whiting
is
on my
done.
hand, which attracts the ink
So
from
the
the
advanced
highlights.
one, the machine itself is done on the cylindrical distance. So I let me see. Let me
So right now, I'm
quickly
this way.
see that.
Alright. So the tissue paper is printed very differently.
I want. This is what I want to get to. So that is.
Probably find that the blanket texture will show up, and the ink bleeds through the Kozo paper onto the blankets. You can see we've got a nice Sally Mann impression on my.
So this is the machine with a roller printing it, the grave print. So the cylinder is right there. This is where the cylinder is, somewhere here. Rolling it, compressing the design onto your substrate.
Now we're
Compressing
off
the design onto your. So after compressing,
and the
so you can
print
now have
and paper
your
combination
design.
are almost glued together.
Yeah. So that is it. You take out. There you have your design. That is the advance because we are using. You have to use a device for it. Now, when we come to printing technology 2, I'm going to show you how it works at the printing press. At the printing press, we are going to talk about graphic printing again, but this one, how it works at the printing press. So I'll be showing you a video of how it works at the printing press. So this is how, that is rotography printing. All right. So this is how it works at the printing press. But we are yet to get there. We are yet to get there. So this is the cylinder. This is the cylinder bearing the image. The cylinder bearing the image. So you just watch it. I will explain when it comes to it. So these are the cylinder having the images or the impression. So this, what is revolving on the cylinder is the support. So you feel the reservoir over here. With the reservoir, yeah, you fill it with the paint or the ink that you want to use for the printing. So I'll show you. I'll send the videos to you for you to watch. So quickly, let's see. Let's proceed. So this is an advanced form of integral printing, which uses modern mechanical press plants and chemically developed cylinders. So now the image carrier is on the cylinder. You saw the cylinder revolving. The gravure design or image is developed into the surface of a printing cylinder by etching with an acid. Okay, good. Or engraved mechanically and fixed into the press for printing. So you can etch it and fix it on the cylinder for it to revolve. The cylinder core, that's the printing surface, can be made with aluminum, steel, or copper plate. In gravure printing, the image is reproduced in a press system where the cylinder is covered with thin liquidizing ink. The ink is removed from the non-image area. The non-image area by a doctor plate. So there is a non-image area that this will not touch. The ink is removed from the non-image area by a particular device known as doctor blade, and the cylinder is pressed against a receptor. So there is a paper that you have to put in between two cylinders. So that paper that you put, that's the your printing surface, is put between two cylinders. One is carrying the ink, one is carrying the image, and the blade, the doctor blade, would be picking out where the ink must not touch, because that's the non-image areas. So most gravure presses also use a system called electrostatic assist. In this system, the electric charge is created between the printing and the impression cylinder. So the impression cylinder is where you have to put your plate. So as I said, two cylinders are there. In between the two cylinders, we have your substrates in between them, pressing each other. One is carrying the ink and the other one is carrying the image. So as the ink is touching the image, it is only, applying the ink onto the positive area, while the doctor blade is taking off where the ink must not touch. That is the negative area. Now, in this system, the electric charge is created between the printing and the impression cylinder, which cause ink containing metal particles to transfer to the receptor much more efficiently. Two types of graphite presses are available: paper-fed and web-fed. Now let's look at the paper-fed. The printing paper are trimmed to the required size and loaded into the feeding unit of the plant. When the press is operated, the sheets are picked individually to pass through the registration, printing, and the delivery units before they are taken out. Now look at the web fed. The receptor is fed from large rows to the printing unit through an intricate system of tension and registration control. It passes between the image cylinder and the impression cylinder in the printing unit. When the receptor leaves the printing unit, it passes through a set of dryers to set the ink. The printed paper is then cut into sheets and folded before it is dry. It can be rewound into roll of shipment without cutting. So one is more advanced than the other, which will do the drying, the printing, the drying, the cutting. That is the web fed. So that is the two main types of gravure, which is all under integral printing process. Now, let's quickly look at the final video where the print, will take place. The print of the integral will take place. So let's watch the final video. So what I was explaining, the gravure. Let's watch the.
Imagine conducting every part of your research only on one platform. Meet Boreum, your AI-powered research companion.
Let's watch. Good. It has no this thing, voice. So this is the blade doctor. All right, picking ink from unwanted places. All right, so this is the substrate, the paper. And I said the paper is fixed between two cylinders. So this one is having the impression. The first cylinder is having impression. This is the impression. All right. The plate is on this cylinder. And this is the ink trail. This one is the ink trail where the ink is. Then this gravure cylinder will pick the ink. All right, there is a belt that is revolving. It will pick the ink from the ink trail. All right, then roll it. So you can see that. Look at this place. Look at the edges over here. They are without ink. One has ink. So where it has ink, that is the let's say the yellow or the gold ones. So you can see that where there is no ink, you can see that we are not seeing any print there on the paper. This is the paper. Where there is ink, that is where we are seeing. So that is the approach. So as it revolves, we are getting the impression. So we have the impression roller, we have the printing substrate, which can be rubber, which can be cloth, which can be paper. And we have the gravure cylinder, and we have this is the system. This is how the system works. That's the gravure printing. So let's watch it as it revolves. That is how it moves. So you can see that the blade or the doctor blade is picking unwanted inks from these ends. So that is it. All right. So yeah, let me quickly.
This is Steve Suffalo from Erie Community College in Buffalo, New York.
Let me quickly show you the last one so that we can ask all our questions. Let me quickly show you the printing of the intaglio so that your question can now flow.
A metal plate serves as the surface for intaglio prints. The is to scratch directly on the copper. The dry piece would show the etched lines, aquatint, and additional hand.
So we now want to print ink
the
and
inking
print.
and printing process for all intaglio methods is the same. In this
Okay.
case, an
You
etched
realize
plate
that
is being used.
the printing
The inking and printing process
and
for
the
all
inking
intaglio
process
methods is the
for
same.
all the
In
intaglio
this case, an etched
processes
plate
are,
is being used.
are same.
The artist
Okay?
applies ink to the
All right.
entire plate with cardboard squeegees, forcing it into the carved lines. The ink remaining on the surface of the plate must be removed.
So you apply the
Intaglio
ink
methods is the same. In
across
this case,
first.
an etched plate is being used. The artist applies ink to the entire plate with
You
cardboard
apply it
squeegee,
entirely.
forcing it into the carved lines.
Then you
The
wipe
ink remaining on the surface of
the
the plate
surface.
must be removed.
You wipe the
The
entire
artist
surface.
wipes it with tarlatan, a type of cheesecloth, and does
Okay.
the finishing touches
All
with
right.
the palm of his hand.
So after wiping it entirely,
The inked plate
don't
is
forget
placed
that
in the press
you have
bed,
some grooves
and a damp
inside.
sheet of paper is carefully
Then
positioned
you
over
place
it.
your paper on
Next,
top.
some newsprint and the press blanket
Another
are put in
newsprint.
position.
And
When
another
this is rolled through the
another
press,
one
the
again. Then
intense
you roll
pressure
it.
forces the damp paper into the grooves of the etching to pull out the ink. Because of this pressure, the plate makes an indentation in the paleo
Again,
method
let's
is the
watch.
same. In this case, an etched plate is being used. The artist applies ink to the entire plate with cardboard squeegees, forcing it into the carved lines. The ink remaining on the surface of the
Whether
plate
it is
must be
engraving,
removed.
whether it is
The artist
etching,
wipes
whether
it
it
with
is
tarlatan,
aparting,
a
whether
type
it
of
is
cheesecloth,
mezzo,
and does the
whether it
finishing
is
touches with
gravure,
the
is the
palm of his
same
hand.
approach.
The inked plate is placed in the press bed, and a damp sheet of paper is carefully positioned over it. Next, some newsprint and the press blanket are put in position.
So you can see
When this
that
is rolled through the press, the
they are
intense pressure
comparing a
forces
lot
the damp paper into the grooves of the etching to
of
pull out the
support
ink.
on top of the
Because
main
of this pressure,
substrate.
the plate makes an indentation in the paper all around its edges. This plate mark is one of the clues that a print is an intaglio. Here, the artist reveals his completed etching. Tones and shades can be seen in the print with aquatint added to the etching.
So that is
Finally,
the
the artist
final
reveals the
design.
finished print with etching.
That is the final design that you would see. look at the plate in reverse, but the final design is in positive or right reading. So now that is all that we would talk about so far as intaglio is concerned. Now time for us to ask our questions. Now, any question? Yes, sir. Ransford.
Yeah, yes, sir. Good afternoon. Thanks very much for this. Right, you did tell us that we should ask question about etching and then engraving. That is where there's a deeper part and then there's a lighter part. So I'm really remembering that's my first question over there.
Okay.
Right, and then and as we were talking about the last part or so, it seems the papers that we have been using for our examination written on, right, what have been to the printing press and then they do start things. I don't know if that is an example of that's the answers booklet that they use.
That's the newsprint. We call it newsprint.
Yeah. I don't know if it also forms part of this interval was printing too.
Yeah, that's the newsprint.
All right. Thank you very much.
So the first question, I asked you to ask me that question because it's quite technical. If the trench or the groove is deep, we'll have a darker and thicker print. If it is shallow, we'll have a lighter and what? A thin print. Now, don't forget that because the grooves, it's deep, the trench is deep, it will collect more ink. So when you wipe out excess ink, because that one is deep, it will collect more of the ink, and the shallow ones will collect less of the ink. So when you compress it, all right, when you roll it over, you compile, you put your substrates on top first, you add other support on top just to soften it, so that when you press it, you press it very tightly, so that because it is a bit soft, the paper is a bit soft, it will pick the color of the that are in the groups. It will pick it directly. So the more the color, the deeper it appears. So that is how it is. And so when the color is less, it will appear very, very light. So that is the technicality I want to enlighten you people on. Any other question? Yeah, Ransford.
Yes, sir. Again, what I saw in the video was, it seems that was the negative part of it as it was being drawn over there. Instead of intaglio starting with IN, like we see the O, L.
Yeah, so it is in reverse form. So your plate must always be in reverse form. Your print, your plate, the design on your plate must always be in reverse form. It must always be in the wrong reading, because don't forget, you are going to pick it on another surface, and if it is in the right form and you pick it on another surface, you see it to be wrong. So it must always be seen at the wrong side, so that when you pick it, it will be on the right side. If it is not in reverse, when you print it out, it will be all right in reverse. But so your plate must always be in wrong side. So that is it. Just like how relief printing and block printing is. So it must always be in reverse form. So that is it. Yeah.
And yes, sir. It seems that there are more materials here that we are supposed to use. In our first block of our examination, we were not really told about to bring materials to drawing or so. And I don't know if this one
I said materials to.
Yes.
So we have more materials to use, as in.
Yeah. As in the metal plates, corrosive acid. Supposedly we are having practicals or examination. Are we supposed to bring all these things?
No examination, of course. No one will ask you to bring acid. No one will ask you to bring, metal plate where you have to submerge your metal plate into acid bath. No, that is not it. That is not it. You can't do that. You can't do that. So the basic ones, of course, we have some basic ones. For instance, stencil and those ones, fine. But these ones are a bit complicated, and no one will stress you. You just need to understand, all right, and appreciate the types of printing methods that we have, and you are good to go.
Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
I've seen that we have practicals, and I would like to know under that, are we going to go through, going to do some of this type of printing? And
yeah, so this is a practical base. This is a practical discipline. Okay. In fact, if not because of YouTube and other resources, you possibly find it a bit difficult to get the meaning of the concept. All right, so this resource tools give us a better understanding of what we were explaining. So when it is time for the practical, we just want you to execute all that we have taught you. Of course, the practical will be within your level, where you can get access to the the tools and materials. So it's not going to be, will not ask you to come and do grave printing, will not ask you to come and do etching, no. But we have basic ones that we can do. You can also improvise. All right, you can also improvise. Good. So that is all that we would be doing. Yeah. Yes. Any more questions? Okay. So thank you so much for that. We have not closed yet. We have one more, 1 hour, 20 minutes to go. So let's look at the next topic to clear the day. Let's look at the next topic to clear the day. And so that is what we'll be looking at right now. Yeah, Prince, kindly ask your question, please. Okay, so once he's not hearing us, I think we can begin with the next one.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So I said you didn't give us at least 10 minutes break to go and
that's why I sent I sent this, I sent you your timetable. All right, your timetable. We are not. I haven't seen it like break over there, but I can still give you some 10 minutes for break. So let's come back at 3 o'clock. We can come back at 3 o'clock. So let me give you some 20 minutes. You can come back at 3 o'clock so that we would look at the next one. You know, one thing is that
Thank you very much.
One thing is that one thing is that you can see how comprehensive the whole discipline is. So if you also delay, it will not be able to accomplish it. So we need to accomplish it. We will not rush you at all, but we shouldn't also waste time in accomplishing our task, our learning outcomes. So exactly 3 o'clock, I will do the next presentation. So let's give our time some 20 minutes. Okay. Someone said that the brain is exhausted, and I understand. So.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, Michael, kindly ask your question, please.
Hello. Yeah, please, when are we ending the session? What time are we ending?
4 o'clock. 4 o'clock. 4.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, 4 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. It's 4 hours.
I couldn't figure it out. Can I help you?
Is it for no, it's 3:30 rather, I think. It's 3:30. We are ending today at 3:30. We started 11:30. Okay. 11:30 to 3:30. So let's come at 3 and or we should just use
we should just continue and close
end
3:30
in the next distance so that we can. Or what do you say?
I am suggesting we continue.
Yes, let's continue.
Let's continue and
maybe
end
those who want to. Not necessarily 3:30. We can even close before 3:30. I mean, some 30 minutes.
Oh, okay.
To let you do. So maybe 3:20, 3:20 or 3:15 will be most appropriate.
Okay. All right. So how are they also?
Okay. Oh, some people have just left.
I would say, they left because you said we are giving us 10 minutes.
No, they are there. They are there.
Some few persons have left.
Is that so?
They are not. Look at the number. We're 40 something. Now we are 24. It means some people have left.
Okay. It's okay. It's okay. So let's wait
the video. They can watch the video
to that 3 o'clock. No, it's okay. Let's wait. We don't want to prevent anyone over here. So we would quickly let's give them some time. Let's give them some time to come. Okay, so I'm back. So welcome back. We want to start quickly so that we can close at exactly 3:30 or less.
All right,
So
sir.
let's start. I'm equally tired, you know. We're all tired, so we just need to adjust.
Thank you, sir.
So we are on the third unit. So we are still advancing, you know. We are going to the advanced level, and so I believe that you are picking it up. All right. So we want to talk about relief and stencil printing. So the session 1 will be looking at the historical development of letterpress and flexography printing. Then we'll move to sheet stencil tools and materials. Then session 3 will be looking at types of sheet stencil and preparation of single plate sheet stencil. While session 4 will be discussing the preparation and dabbing of multi-plate sheet stencil and defects in sheet stenciling. Then the penultimate section will be on the practical activities in sheet stenciling. Then the last section will finally be on manual screen printing tools and materials. So I have posted something on your platform right now. So by the end of this lesson, you would explain the concept of letterpress printing, trace the historical development of letterpress printing, and describe how to compose movable types. And so we'll also discuss the tools, materials in sheet stenciling, prepare, preserve, and dab sheet stenciling, describe causes and remedies for types of sheet stencil faults, and also prepare, preserve, and dab sheet stencil. Then would also be able to achieve the manual screen printing tools and materials as well. So let's quickly begin with the concept and history of letterpress and flexography printing. So we want to first and foremost explain the concept of letterpress. I have placed something on your platform right now. Those who belong there would see it. I placed the first image. It's on letterpress. The name even tells letterpress. Letterpress. Okay, so letterpress printing is a mechanical and commercial printing processes in which movable types So types, that is the letter. So if you hear types, it means letter. Okay, like A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So that's movable. So it is movable typography. So types means typography. So that one is movable. We shift it, we will arrange it, which is why you call it movable. It can be arranged, it can be moved, it can be rearranged. Okay, so movable types consisting of individual characters of typeface, punctuation marks, spacing devices are assembled. So because they are movable, they can be assembled or composed gradually in a composing stick to form words and sentences. All right, and sentences to form pages, which is subsequently chased. The word chase over here is a frame, a rectangular frame that we put that holds the letters or this thing together. So you can see that the picture that I posted, there is a rectangular metal, all right, around the letter. That is what you call the chase. Okay, that is what we call the chase. So, which is subsequently chased and printed in a letter press. Some of the tools used in letterpress printing are movable types. So the types A, B, C, or whatever that are movable. California job case. So we are talking about case that we put the letters in. Composing sticks. Okay, so the composing sticks that will, sticks that will guide you to compose. They are flat sticks that will guide you to compose your letters. Then we have the galley, we have the page cord, we have the wooden mallet, the queen, whatever. So let us quickly look at the video on watch the video on letterpress. Let's watch the video on letterpress creation. Let's watch the video quickly. Letterpress. So there's the letterpress. So you can see that we have cutouts of the letters. The cutouts of the letters. Okay, so, yeah,
Hello, sir.
yeah. Can you watch it?
We are watching. Is there any audio attached to it so that we will then get the explanation being given? I don't know if the audio will be allowed so that we can hear.
You want a commentary?
Yeah, the commentary in addition. Yeah.
So this is the letter, all right, a letter which has been carved out, all right, which is in a relief form. Okay, it's in a relief form. So you can see the letters over here. Okay, so we have to hold the letters together. All right, you have to hold the letters together. Also, in a chase, so you'll be seeing him arranging the letters for printing to take place. So you can see the chase. This is the chase, yeah. So there's a rectangular, yeah, that is the chase. All right, okay. So we are now going to, so this is just a decoration frame. So we can see the case where the various letters are. So we have the types are in various sizes. So he's just selecting the types. Now selecting the types. Good. So he's putting it in the galley. So that's the galley. So that's the queens. So they lock it to fasten it better. So the bars are for spacing. And check whether it is in line. So you're just checking whether the types are in the right distance. So you have to still arrange it in reverse so that when you are printing it out, it will be in the right reading. So you are now coating the roller. So this is more mechanical. So you can see. All right. Okay. We started printing. So the paper is a newsprint. Wants to fix the newsprint, and let's see how it prints. It's taking the impression of the lesson. So that is the impression. That is the print out. Yeah. So that is it. So we will end it there and explain the concept again. All right. So when we said that letterpress is a mechanical and commercial printing process, we mean that it is done for industrial purposes. Okay, it is done or printed with a machine, and the printing process involves movable types. So we saw them picking the various types, okay, based on the individual character and typeface, the font size, whatever. So they assemble it, okay, compose it gradually in a composing stick. So you saw the composing stick, all right, to form the west before it is sent to the galley. So the words and sentences to form pages, and the chase and is subsequently chased and printed at the chase. It means that it is now tightened, right? Tightened with a rectangular shape. Okay. So that is the letter press. So we saw some. He made mention of movable types, the case, the composing stick, the galley, okay? The mallet to check, the wooden mallet to check the height and the consistency of the height. So that is that. Now, if we look at that, we need to quickly look at the historical development of the letterpress. I said it is the letterpress printing is the first mechanical and commercial printing process invented in the world. All right. Some time ago, there was no written record of man's activity. So there was the need for them to keep the records of man's activity by writing it, by documenting it. So it was invented in 1445 AD by Johannes Gutenberg, who was a German seal maker, goldsmith, typographer, and a printer. So as a goldsmith, Gutenberg experimented how to cast, all right, letters in metal. So he was just experimenting how to cast letters in metal. So you can see that those things, the letters were casted in a relief form. Okay, so he was just experimenting how to cast letters in metal. And after several trials and attempts, he was able to cast the individual letters in relief on metal, which could be assembled to form words, sentences, and pages. After composing a page with the movable metal types by hand, he inked it and pressed a paper on it to make a print. That was his first, trial to just see a print, which was made from letters or letter by pressing. So, which is why we call it letter press. Gutenberg's method was adopted all over the world later and did not change till 1800s. All right. Okay. So in 1454, he used a method to print the first printed book called Gutenberg Bible, which was printed in Latin. He printed 48 copies, with each consisting of 1,282 pages. Gutenberg's invention of movable types was inspired by humanism, philosophy of Renaissance period. In fact, Johannes is accredited as the father of commercial printing in the world. So if you're talking about the fathers of commercial printing, you cannot in any way mention names without first mentioning, Johannes, Gutenberg's name. After 1800, the process was developed into mechanical process where letterpress printing plant was developed. So when you even go to Newtown, Accra, Newtown, Caprice, Accra, Newtown, Caprice, you see a lot of the letterpress, methods over there. Some are still using it, though. Some are still using it. It is recent times that we are seeing plotters and other printers, inkjet, laserjet, and co. So we'll be talking about those ones when we get to printing technology too. So how to compose movable type? How do we compose it? So select the required font of the same size. So you saw in the video that he selected the font of the same size. Then measure the length of the longest line to be formed in a composing stick. So he was picking it and placing it in the composing state. So it's now composing the words and sentences. So arrange or set types from right to left. So shouldn't forget that we read from left to right, but this time in reverse. Because don't forget, in printing, everything which is in reverse, in relief or direct printing, if you are printing, it is not in reverse, the outcome will be negative. It will be in wrong reading. So make sure it is always in reverse. Remove the form and stand it in the galley. All right, stand it in a galley. Guide the form with furniture and space with the appropriate space fillers. And so you can see that there was a guide, and the guide is what we call the chase. Tie the spaced form with page codes. Guide the form with furniture and lock it with keys. So you saw him locking the furniture, all right, with keys. Plane the form and hit, all right, over with mallet, so that you have even consistency, even surface. Lock the form firmly into the chase. So the forms are now locked, firmly into the chase. That's the rectangular, metallic device that we saw. So now you have to fix it into the letter press printing machine and make a proof print. The proof print is to check whether what you are printing is right, so that you can, sometimes there may be some misarrangement. When there's misarrangement, it means that you would have some errors or some typographical mistakes. So you have to make a proof print and check and correct. So correct mistakes after proof printing where necessary. So that is it. After that, do the final printing. So that is about letter press. Then let's look at the uses of letter press printing. The uses of letter press printing. The process is used to print letterheads, receipts, waybills, handbills, invitation cards. All right. It is emphasized that the letter press printing has a system of generating serial numbers on printed sheets. That is why it is often preferred for printing receipts and invoices. So that is that. So let's quickly look at the concept of flexography. Then I'll be showing video, then we'll end it there for today. So flexography printing is a kind of rotary relief printing process or press in which the image is flexible, is a flexible rubber or photopolymer plate with raised image area. It is also called flexo printing. Flexography press is available in sheet fed and web fed and consists of three major units: the in-fed, printing, and out-fed. So you have to feed it, you have to print, you have to take it out. That is the in-fed, printing, and out-fed. The process requires much thinner ink than offset press. So that is it. So it is used for printing variety of packaging products such as metal foils, tissues, paper bond, corrugated board, plastic, cell phones, sheets, etc. So let's quickly look at the video on flexography. So let's look at that's the base, how it works. So I just want you to observe this one, just this. So that is also a machine printing. Okay, so you can, let me pause this. So this is where the roller fountain is. This is the ink trail, picking the ink. And when we were talking about Dr. Blade, you know the functions of it. Okay, you know the functions of it. To take away unwanted ink from the negative areas. So this is another roller. Okay, this is another roller. Then we have another roller over here, flexo plate, where your it will also be picking different ink altogether. Then we have the substrate in between the flexo plate, where the plate is, and the impression cylinder, where our impression is. So the red is for the substrate, that is the paper or the plastic or the rubber. Then look at how this one works. Look at how it works. This one, so that it will revolve. It will revolve. So we have the flexo plate right here, and the ink is transferred from the analog cell to plate. So this is the analog cells, all right, that are found over here. So as it revolves, it is applying ink. Okay, it is applying ink to the substrate, because the substrate is having the impression. All right, the substrate is attached to the impression where our design is, so that it can pick the design and print. So that is all about flexography, and it is normally found at big press. So this is an example of how the video. Let's watch this video, 3 minutes video. So that is a very big industry. So that is a very big industry in the photographic method of printing. The machine is there. So all these products to print these products. So because we cannot see what is inside, we don't know how it is processing, which is why I showed you the diagram, right? Diagram how it works. So that is the impression cylinder. So you can see this is the right? The substrate. This is the impression cylinder. And this is the other cylinder. So that is how the printing done. So you can see the out. All right. So that is flexographic method of printing. Flexographic method of printing. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is all about that. And the flexographic method of printing discuss the concept of this particular section. We discuss the concept of letterpress printing and trace its historical development. It also stated some tools, materials that we use in letterpress. Don't forget, when we are talking about materials, we are talking about the ink over here. So the ink is a material because materials form part of the finished work. All right. So the ink can also be called media. Okay, media. So we have dry and wet media. So we looked at every print we use ink in bringing out the impression. So there's no way we can talk about tools without talking about the materials. So we look at the tools and materials in the letterpress and describe the processes of composing type elements in a composing stick. So that is what we need to know so far as letterpress and flexographic method of printing is concerned. So the next one that we need to do next week, starting next week, Saturday, is sheet stencil, all right, tools and materials. So we'll look at sheet stencil. So by next week, Sunday, we should be done with industrial printing technology 1. So I entreat all of you to read further or to read the previous sections for reflection, purposes, so that you will not forget, so that when we meet, we can recap all that we discussed. If you have more ample time, you can also continue to maybe refresh your mind on what we'll be doing. You may not necessarily understand it, but when we meet, we start explaining it, you will be able to get it better and also ask your questions. So that is where we will end today so that we can prepare, rejuvenate ourselves for next week. So we would end our lesson by asking some few questions, then we draw closure. All right. So any questions so far? Yeah, Ebenezer. Then we have Ebenezer, Christian, then we have Osman.
Yeah, sir.
Yeah, Eben, yeah.
Please, I would like to find out with the letterpress machine, is it able to print multiple copies at the same time, or we do it one after the other? Thank you.
Multiple copies would depend, if you say multiple copies of the printout or what?
Sir,
is it the
please, the
printout that you're
printout.
talking about?
Yes, sir, please.
Yeah, so for instance, yours is to set your letters. Once it is set in the machine, right, you just feed it with your substrate, then it will print. The issue is that maybe you are printing books, and we have to print maybe about 20 copies. Page one information will remain same for the rest of the copies. So what will happen is that once you have inserted the letters for page one, you print all page one entirely for the 20 copies before you proceed to page two. So page two, you have to fit in with another, composition. So that is how it is till you finish. So we print it in badges. Please, are you okay with that?
Yes, sir, please. Thank you.
Right, thank you. All right. Yes, in a Christian, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, in case of arranging the typefaces in the letterpress, do you have anything called the typesetter?
Again, please come again. I was just fixing my earpiece. Come again, please.
Do we have anybody called typesetter in terms of arranging the fonts and everything in the tray?
Do you have any
called typesetter?
Yeah, typesetting. You know, we have to set that's the case, okay? And the galley where we set everything, we compose whatever we need to compose before, you know, placing it in the chase. Okay, then we have to tighten it so that it will not shift position. So that is where you have to make your composition.
Okay, so the man arranging those type, can it be called a typesetter?
Typesetting, that's typesetting.
So what of the typesetter?
Typesetter, that is, you know, those are the bars. Those are the bars that will give us, you know, accurate setting of the types.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah, Osman.
Okay, please, you kept on mentioning it should be in reverse, in reverse. What does it mean in simple terms?
Pardon?
I say you kept on saying that it has to be in reverse. It has to be in reverse. What does it mean in simple terms when it comes to printing?
Reverse simply, if you said you have to compose your design in reverse, it means that it must be in the wrong reading. Opposite. Okay? Opposite. I don't know whether you have you have seen the inscription on ambulance before. Have you seen the inscription on ambulance? On the what's the name? The bonnet of ambulance. Have you seen the inscription? Have you had the chance to see the inscription of ambulance?
I've never seen it, but I've not critically observed what is.
It is in reverse. Why is it in reverse? So that you, when you are looking through your side mirrors, okay, when you are looking through your side mirrors, you will see it, all right, in the right reading. You will see it in the right reading. So reverse means it is in the wrong reading. You cannot read it. The letters are turned upside down, or the designs are turned upside down. Okay, so if you can only turn it upside down on the image carrier, so that when you print it, you will see it in the right reading now, where you can read it. Once you cannot read it, it means that the thing is turned upside down. It is in reverse. So, for instance, if maybe you write your name, you just write your name, okay? Write your name on a piece of paper, then place a mirror against it, okay, and see how it will appear. Write it the normal way that you write, in the right form. So we have the wrong side and the right side. The wrong side is where you cannot read it well. It's not clear, it's not conspicuous for you to read it. It's not legible for you to read. So your designs or your image carrier must always be in reverse. It must always be in opposite form. It must always be in the wrong form, wrong reading form, so that you cannot read it. So when you print it out, it will now be in the right reading form. It will now be in the actual, normal way that we read, so that it will be very clear, legible, and conspicuous for you to see. That is what we are talking about.
Hello, sir.
So let me come in here.
Let me add a little bit to that. I think from science we learned about image formation, and you get to know that we said some images form are inverted.
Let me quickly even help him. Let me quickly, if you say something, I don't know, we have already even seen it, but we have seen it. Let me show him example of words that are in reverse form. Okay, so that will possibly help him.
So let me come in, suggest something here. So in case you want to print your right hand, you can see when you pick your right hand and you watch, you realize that your thumb tends to the right side. That is your right hand. So if you want to print,
so my brother, this word we have reverse test. We can see it clearly here.
Okay.
The reverse form of this particular word is this. It is in reverse. You can't see it clearly. You can't read it. It's not legible. It is wrong. So that is the one at the base, which is why I said that write your name, then place your mirror over here, and you see that it will turn upside down. That is the reverse. So anytime that you are doing any form of print on an image carrier, and if it is not in reverse form, and you print it like the normal way, all right, the normal or the correct reading way, when you print it out, you see it this way. But when you trace it onto the image carrier, all right, in reverse, when you print it out, you see it this way. That is what it means.
Yes, a typical example is the stamp we use in our various schools. You
Yeah,
realize that when you
it's time
lift
to,
it,
yeah.
when you lift it to
Yeah.
look at the stamp itself, you realize that everything is arranged in reverse form. But when you stamp, the image it creates actually is in the right image form. So that is a typical example. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the contribution. That's nice. So Osman, I hope you got it now. All right. Yes. Any more question? Any more question? Okay. So it seems we don't have any more question. So let's prepare, and don't forget to practicalize all that we are doing so that it will be on your fingertips. And I always say that if you are able to understand a concept, it is as a result of you putting it into practice. So don't forget to put everything into practice within your mind. And those, if you have some resources that, or if you don't even have, I think you can improvise it and do it. It can be even for the etching. You don't need for the etching. You can even do it without necessarily submerging it into acid. Okay, just coat the surface. All right, then use any pointed edge to draw your design on that surface. Then place a bond paper on it. Then you exert some pressure on top of the bond paper, which is your substrate. Then you realize that you get an impression which is etched. So that is if you don't want to use the acid one. So you can always put some of these things into practice rather than always taking it from the abstract point of view. Okay. All right. So we shall meet next week, God willing. Next week. So it means that there is no Xmas for us. So we shall meet next week, God willing. I wish all of us the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Olive, please, anybody with the material should kindly post it on the page for us. Those of us who just joined.
The materials have already been put there since we can go through.
And past questions too. Some of us is in the platform, so the past questions. Please kindly post the material. Those of us who have it, kindly post them on the platform for us.
Hello. Mr. Christian. Mr. Christian.